Hey everybody, welcome to We've Got the Beat, the podcast devoted to teen entertainment from the 80s and beyond. I'm your host, Michael, and Mindy's on the other side, my co-host.
What?
Give me a cookie, but only if I wrap this up properly.
Did you just make that up on the spot?
Yes.
Do you want me to send you some cookies in the mail?
No, I'm just glad I got through that without flubbing and starting over again.
Good job.
Alright, so kids, we're discussing the 25th anniversary of Good Burger, and we struggled. We struggled hard to find something to go with it, and what we chose?
Wasn't great.
Yeah, and now I'm starting to think of a different movie that would have been a better fit, was Meet the Deedles to go with Good Burger. I don't know, for some reason it just seems...
Aw, damn.
I thought of it like a half hour ago. So we went with Dude, Where's My Car? It hasn't aged very well. Good Burger, it was a first time watch, and I was completely pleased with it. I was more than pleased with it. I was actually shocked at how entertaining this was.
Yeah, seriously, I actually, I have seen it a few times, but the first time I watched it was actually, within the last few years, as opposed to, when it came out. So, I mean, I was so pleased to discover something that I thought was going to be just endlessly moronic, but was fun and innocent and goofy as hell.
Now, I know at the time you were kind of casually watching All That, which is what this is from, correct?
Yes.
I remember bits and pieces. Like, I would walk in, like, during the summer, because I was at college at this point.
I'm not 100% sure if it started on All That. Didn't they have their own show at one point, too?
I could have swore Kenan and Kel came after the movie. I can look this up.
So, I'm not 100% sure if it was from the Kenan and Kel show, or if it was from All That, or maybe it was just featured on both. Regardless, it started on a show.
You know what? Kenan and Kel is the year before. When did All That start?
I don't know, 94?
Okay.
90, I don't know.
Because I know the whole creative team behind this, and a lot of the cast members are from that show. There's another All That. That's interesting.
Yes, newer, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, and then some of the cast members show up in that. I just remember catching like random episodes here and there when you were when I would come home for the summer from college and you were watching it, probably with your friends. Why can't I find them? Oh, 94. Okay, all that's from 94. Well, so they were doing this, the movie, and Kenan and Kel all at the same time. Were they on the whole time? They couldn't have been.
Were working so hard because, also Amanda Bynes got her start from All That, and then she had the Amanda show. So I think that they were doing it all at the same time.
Yeah, it looks like some of them were only on for a few seasons. Crazy. Some of the actors went like 35 episodes. The show was on a lot longer than I thought it was, too. It was on till 2005, and then it took its big break and then came back, 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
I'm not 100% sure. I think when it was starting, what did we say, 94?
Yeah.
The 94, 95, the first few years I definitely watched it some. But I didn't stick to it.
Yeah, Nick Cannon was on after they left too, huh? So quite a few names started on the show.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he was on for one season and guested later. I wonder how he became famous. I only know the first time I'd seen him was Drumline, but let's go back to the other thing because there's a whole episode we could do just on kids sketch comedy because it all started with You Can't Do That on Television. But we do have Josh Server, who was I remember on the show, he was the Jim Carrey type. He was always imitating Jim Carrey on there. And I always thought Lori Beth Denberg, she's the heavier set, freckle-faced girl, she was actually the Phil Hartman of the show. She really was like a utility player that didn't get much respect.
She was so committed, and so I was always very impressed by her.
Yeah.
And in fact, she I think in Good Burger, she's in my favorite scene of the whole movie. Her scene is
she's playing the old lady.
Well, she's not an old lady.
Older lady, I guess
she's an adult. Anyways, that's my favorite scene. But anyway, yes, there's some real solid talent there.
Yeah. Well, I also think that all this is basically out of the mindset of the three guys from Head of the Class. Dan Frischman, Dan Schneider, and Brian Robbins. Brian Robbins, I didn't know, is running Paramount right now.
Well, that makes so much sense then why all the Nickelodeon content is only on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, well, I mean, Paramount's always owned Nickelodeon. That was one.
I know,
okay.
But I didn't know that, but it all makes sense now.
And he was one of the big drivers behind MTV Films too, because he did maybe the third one, which was Varsity Blues, and then out of that he really built. That. Yeah, so like, and I think this is the second Nickelodeon original, because I think the first one was Harriet the Spy.
Harriet the Spy. Yeah, I don't think Matilda was anything to do with Nickelodeon,
okay.
But Harriet the Spy was in '96.
Yeah, it's just so funny those two brands would be so locked into the teen movies, which we're going to be discussing through the years, and I don't know. Are either one still around?
Either one, what?
Those companies. I know MTV technically is around because they just did Jackass forever. But I mean, are they constantly in production? It felt like there was 2 movies from each company every year. They would have something during the summer or spring, and then something around Christmas. And I have not seen those names in a while.
If they are, it's not on my radar by any means.
I think there was a SpongeBob movie a couple years ago.
Did they do like Catfish stuff on MTV?
Yeah, but I think the thing is that their name is only alive in the way that like Miramax is still alive. Legacy sequels.
Yeah.
So like we're about to get another Beavis and Butthead. We just had another Jackass. So I feel like they're only getting their credit on stuff they've already done. They're not developing new properties.
This has nothing. This is just because you mentioned Jackass. I just want to ask: did you watch the new Jackass movie?
Actually, I've never seen any of them.
Oh, okay. I haven't really either. I watched like part of the newest one with Scott, and there was so much dick involved that I just had to walk away. So
if MTV is too much for you, go to the Nickelodeon brand.
Exactly. And MTV has always been too much for me. Too much stupidity, too much. Did they do a movie we haven't discussed but we really should, which is
is it Dead Man on Campus?
Oh, that's not what I was going to say, but I've never seen that movie still. No, the one with Sarah Michelle Gellar, the like Dangerous Liaisons one.
I would not be surprised if that. No, because that's Columbia Pictures. Cruel Intentions. Yeah. Their deals were always with Paramount, obviously, unless it was a shared production.
We're getting off track.
Yeah, so let's get back to this. This is established. It was a pre-existing sketch, and it was very popular. And it's funny looking back at the way the actors were then compared to now, because Keenan is clearly the star. Kel's kind of taking a step back. He does a lot of voice work, but Kel is what sells this movie. Keenan's fine. He's a straight man.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have a lot to really. Bring you in. I am absolutely fascinated by Ed. He's such a strange, literal character, and I couldn't stop laughing. When Keenan asked him, he says, "Why can't you get that through your head?" And he has a fry in his hand, and he's trying to put it through his ear. I almost cried because I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, there's just so much literal comedy here. I mean, there's physical comedy and stuff like that too, but that's really what Ed's base, his whole thing is, and what makes him just so stupid but also endearing and charming.
Well, he's also extremely intelligent in some ways because he develops that sauce and he has that whole speech towards the end of the movie. I wonder if he's like one of those idiot savants, like he's only really locked in on certain things, or he has ADD. I don't know what it is, but he has also like this hair trigger repetitive thing. Did you notice that? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
like how he starts his day in his uniform.
Yeah, but it's also
a shower in his uniform.
Yeah, but it's also he's a dude. She's a dude, they're a dude, whatever. He always sings that, and he's always like has this thing where he's always like, "Welcome to Good Burger, whatever, home of the Good Burger. How may I take your order?" It's like this weird reflexive thing, like OCD. I don't know what it is.
Well, maybe he has. I mean, I'm getting too deep, but we tend to do that sometimes. Let's say maybe he's on the spectrum.
I didn't want to say it. I chickened out.
I don't know. I'm just merely speculating. And he has a script that that works for him. If he has a script and he has certain things, but you know, I'm not on the spectrum, but I have incredible amounts of like social anxiety. And so I often have scripts in my head or things that I say the exact same way every time. Like part of my job is I have to answer the phones all day, every day. And I hate talking on the phone. It's one of the things I hate most in the world because of my social anxiety. But if I have almost a script of the way I say things every time. It's like that annoying lady in
Office Space.
What's that? Office Space, where she answers the phone the same way every time, and it's grating. But that's her routine. That's what works for her.
Yeah, and if you go off script, you fuck it up. You just do. I try sometimes. I try to mix it up. And I'm like, what did I just say? I just combined two different phrases.
So I probably shouldn't even a suggested spectrum. It could be anything. It could be, like my thing, like if I stick to the familiar, it makes it so much easier for me because I say stupid shit all the time, and even more if I don't stick to my script.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But he also seems to be just like a person who genuinely enjoys every moment of his life.
Yeah.
He is living life to the fullest. He has fun. He loves his job. He loves those goddamn burgers. He's just whatever. Whatever works for him works.
Yeah, and Dexter is like the yin-yang, miserable con artist. Yeah. And then his is about redemption. At least he had something instead of just being the stick in the mud con artist. But his is like this whole very frivolous bullshit. The fact that he even gets in trouble in the first place and doesn't accept the fact that he broke the law. Right. He drove without a license, but refuses to admit his screw-up. And that's a big part of his character. But it really is about those two. They're really driving the movie, obviously, because they're the leads. But I gotta tell you, I can't believe Abe Vigoda had so much to do in this. How old was he? They always joked that he was on Conan O'Brien for like a decade, that he had died. And he would just show up and they're like, oh, no.
Wasn't there even a joke about him in the movie about the fact that they keep saying that he was dead? But he is still, it was like an inside joke about himself. Maybe,
because I think it all started because he was in the obituaries more than once. Saying that he had passed away, and he's like, "No, I'm not dead."
But he was so fucking funny, and just what a weird addition to a kids movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because no one knows who the hell he is. I mean, because if you look at the cameos, there's some that make complete sense. Like Sinbad had already locked into the kid audience. He had that sitcom, huh?
Carmen Electra. So many of the things do make sense for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal. He had just come off of doing Shazam. Kazam. I almost did that effect. What is it where you thought another actor? Where you thought Sinbad was in a movie called Shazam.
That is one of the most deep rooted incorrect stories in entertainment history.
Yeah. No, Robert Wall is basically a nobody. It's kind of surprising he showed up. He must have been friends with the director and people only knew him from Batman at best. And George Clinton, in his days, I mean, if anybody referenced him, it was only because all the rappers were using his music now.
I feel like he made several cameos in the late 90s. Wasn't he also in PCU and stuff?
Yes, I was going to say, yeah.
Several times around that time period he showed up, and I was just it's even a stretch of a reference for us, I think.
Parliament Funkadelic. Every time I think of PCU. By the way, she discovered we had done an episode a couple months ago about how I got into college. She found a copy, and I don't think she realizes how rare it is. There's a handful of Fox movies from the late 80s, early 90s that have disappeared forever. If you find a copy of Airheads or PCU...
it was rare enough that I grabbed it,
yeah.
And I was like, mine now.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with why Fox has just eliminated those from its catalog. But the basic story is the competition. It's not a really fresh story because we've seen it many times where the small store has a big competition coming in. They got to compete. But the elaborate, over-the-top, cartoonish levels of... What's the other burger called? Mega
Mondo
Burger?
Burger, I think.
What is it?
Mondo.
Mondo Burger. Well, Mondo I think means is Hawaiian for huge, I think. But those things are so fucking disgusting looking. And then they find out why. I was like, well, yeah, okay, now that makes a hell of a lot more sense. They're pumping them with steroids.
So I wonder if J. August Richards is one of the like henchmen kind of characters.
Yeah, you're psychic. I was about to say the same thing.
Oh yeah. God, I think that he is so underutilized and underappreciated. But
wasn't he supposed to be a big deal on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like the very first episode, they introduced him, and he was supposed to be Deathlock, and it never happened.
Well, he was on 12 episodes over the 5 seasons.
Was he? Okay, at least there's that.
He was. But, so they definitely did bring him back throughout the series, but he wasn't as big as I had anticipated he was going to be. But I have a lot of issues with that show and its trajectory over the course of the years. Anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't even think I've finished the first season yet, so.
Really? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I know, there's too many shows, and a lot of it's because of the podcast. The podcast slows me down because I'm always, what the hell? I'm looking at a cast member of this movie that was born in Huntington.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, his name's Brian Peck. Oh, he was in Return of the Living Dead. That's his first credit, but he was also in Holes, which I still have never seen.
Oh, Jesus. We should do that movie because it is quality.
Quality control.
So good. It is, to me, it is like solid gold.
This is crazy.
And I'm surprised that I haven't thought of it sooner.
The guy, he played Upset Customer, whatever that was. But he is in all 3, well, there's 3 Return of the Living Deads that I consider. I ignore part 4 and 5. He's in all 3 movies as different characters.
That's weird.
That is weird.
It's a lot of credit.
Huh, that's strange. What? Almost like he must have been like friends with the producer or something.
We digress.
We always do.
I know, we always do. I was going to say, in addition to my comment about J. August Richards, is that I believe in the details it says this is the first movie that Linda Cardellini was in.
Okay.
And what a charming weirdo she was, huh?
Yes, she was. Yeah. I always thought that Dead Man on Campus, to bring it back, Dead Man on Campus, I thought was her first movie.
Ooh, I don't know. In the credits, it says this was her first one. Well, did this movie come out before that or not?
Yeah, it came out 2 years before. Or no, 1 year before.
I've never seen it. I know I just mentioned that. I've never seen it.
Yeah, she was in that TV show. Yeah, she was in that TV show I sent you. I never heard of Bone Chillers. There's another episode. All of those anthology kind of spooky shows for kids back then. We had Erie, Indiana, Bone Chillers, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, I see. 12 episodes in 96.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she did that, Third Rock, then this, but knowing how things work, she probably did this before Third Rock. Wow, she really was. I didn't realize how busy she was around that time. She was like in 3 different shows. They were all short-lived, including Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, she was not on my radar until Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
She did quite a lot before then.
There was a TV show she did called On the Lot, which is set back in like the 1940s in Hollywood, and I always thought,
remember that show.
Yeah, I always thought that was after Freaks and Geeks, and she came in for an arc, and no, it was right before Freaks and Geeks. So,
but we didn't notice it until right after.
No,
I remember now.
But yeah, with this movie, I think it's a lot of silly fun. There's a lot of weird. I think a lot of the comedies now are so generic that they don't have a tone. And I think the 90s, they were trying to like, let's get a little strange. Let's get weird here. And not all of it works, but at least it's memorable instead of just being bland.
Yes. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, for me, this movie, again, I shouldn't say it holds up. And I say that because I think it's still funny now. After, what'd you say, this is the 25th anniversary, but I didn't watch it when it originally came out.
Yeah,
so,
and then, like I said, this is the first time I've seen it.
I'm going to assume that in 90 whatever, when it came out, 97 when it came out, I would have thought it was even funnier than I think it is right now, but I don't know.
And it was out of my age range, and I think you were just starting to age out of these kind of movies.
I was aged out. I didn't watch this stuff. I think I was distracted by other things, but
yeah.
I also... Seriously, it would not be surprising if you caught one of us walking around the house singing, "He's a dude, she's a dude."
Well, especially since the final song is him singing with Less Than Jake, and I was listening to Less Than Jake and all sorts of ska around that time.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't watching Good Burger. I was too invested in the local ska scene.
Was there a local ska scene, or are you just
going
joking?
to skank.
Everybody skanking. Let's get a two-tone floor.
Yeah.
We did have a two-tone floor.
I don't know if there was a single solitary band that I would go see multiple times.
Was it Ska Vosas? Scatolites?
Ska Vosas. Yeah. Ska Vosas.
Right.
I went to see them a bunch of times and gave my heart out. Almost got punched a bunch of times by grown-ass dudes, but
wow.
I survived. Still the tale.
I forgot to mention Ron Lester. He would work with Brian Robbins again a year later in Varsity Blues, and parodied himself in a movie we discussed already called Not Another Teen Movie. But I look, and he lost a ton of weight, and I was really surprised.
Oh, God.
Who's the other guy? We just watched Dog, and the guy from My Name Is Earl. Ethan,
absolutely. My Name is Earl.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Ethan Suplee.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he lost a bunch of weight too. They look fantastic.
His he actually has an Instagram account, and a lot of it is focused on and he does a podcast. I think that a lot of it is more focused on working out, body, food, health, mental health. It's really interesting. But I wouldn't mention it's sad, but Ron Lester, he did die 6 years ago. He died in 2016.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. I'm sitting here talking about it and I didn't know. What happened?
Liver and kidney failure.
Oh,
so I don't know. I don't know if it had to do with, long-term effects of the obesity. I mean, I'm super proud of him for, getting it together. He looked fantastic when he, got older, but I'm not sure.
That's terrible. It does seem like.
Does that make you sad? I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of overweight actors. I always worry. I can just
Well,
and we've lost so many of them.
That they put on their hearts, or
yeah, but we lost so many of them. Especially John Candy. I think was the one that hit the hardest, and of course Farley and stuff like that. So let's not bum us out. Sorry.
No, sorry.
So this was.
But I wanted to pay respect to him and
yes. But thank you for
that,
correcting me. I didn't know that. This wasn't a huge hit. This is one that blew up on television and on VHS, but it only cost $9 million, so that gave Nickelodeon more incentive to keep making movies. But as long as they kept it under a certain budget, and that's usually the way, you don't need big names. Just have a fun concept, some recognizable faces, and that's what works so much for our next movie is Dude, Where's My Car? Is they have two up-and-comers. It's very low budget, but it has a very interesting idea, and the chemistry is what makes it work. And it's such a strange movie in that it's a secret sci-fi film. And the first time I saw this, I was like, what? Where are we going with this weirdness?
It's a totally dorky dude movie, but then you're like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah, and no, it's not hard sci-fi anyway. It's completely absurd. So don't get woo, what level of sci-fi is this? No, it's still stupid.
It's a little farce or whatever. But
yeah, and the logic behind a lot of it doesn't make any sense. But
also, it's straight up homophobic and has a lot of problems.
Yeah, a lot of women only useful for boobs. Yeah,
innuendos, and there's a lot of problems with it. It does not hold up for me. I do think it's funny. I thought it was funny when it first came out. I've seen it a lot of times. It's still funny, but all the stuff kind of just it slapped me in the face at this viewing. I just watched it this morning.
Yeah, and don't say, you're all woke. No, we evolved. Things changed.
No.
Stop it.
Y'all, no, seriously, watch it. It's got some issues.
Directed by Danny. Go ahead. What?
Oh, I was just gonna say that, honestly, the level of lovable idiot concept, if you compare them in Good Burger and compare them in Dude, Where's My Car? They're actually, honestly, pretty self-involved kind of jerks.
Yeah, they're kind of dipshits. Yeah,
honestly, they're kind of bad.
So this is from Philip Stark, who was a writer on That 70s Show. I'm wondering, it doesn't say anywhere in here if he was related to Don Stark, who played their neighbor. That's a weird coincidence. But Danny Lanier, this is his first production, and I always wondered how he got a studio film, but I look and he was already working in the studio system, but on television. He had done Felicity, Strangers with Candy, Action, Freaks and Geeks, Party of Five, so he knew how to work with ensembles and he knew how to do comedy.
Action, yeah.
As good as this movie is comedy-wise, I really do believe his next movie that didn't do anywhere nearly as well is his best movie, is Harold and Kumar.
Oh yeah, baby.
Sadly passed away.
I do love Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, he passed away a few years ago, but he had left behind a few good movies. His final film, I think it's his final film, is a movie called Balls Out, Gary the Tennis Coach, which it's actually really underrated. It went straight to video.
Wait, it has him in it too?
Yeah, Sean William Scott. He's like a loser. It's kind of a Bad News Bears formula, whereas he's like this loser who gets like kind of forced to go work with high school kids on a tennis team. And
so basically, it's Bad News Bears / Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, it's the same formula, but I think it was really funny. But sadly, it was either that or it went to Crackle. I can't remember. But this thing is stacked to the hilt with that guy, that girl, that like these up and comer kind of lower level comedic guys.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what really makes it work. Yes, Ashton and Sean are fun, but I really like watching some of these guys just work. And some of them are terrible, but they don't know they're terrible. Danny Lanier kind of manipulates it, and it makes it work. Like, Charlie O'Connell is a perfect fucking dipshit.
Yeah. Agreed. He's the worst.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that I think personally, I don't know how do you pronounce her name? Mary Lynn Bradsko. I've never known how to, say her name.
Uh-huh.
I just think that she is just a fucking treasure.
Yeah.
And I think eventually the world is going to figure that out and start to respect her and give her better roles like they've done with Judy Greer and
well, I mean, she was on 24.
Catherine Hahn.
There was a point where she was almost the lead with Kiefer Sutherland on that show by season 7, the reunion. So at least she got.
Yes, I know that.
It's so interesting that she was respected more as a dramatic actress, than as a comedian.
I mean, she has definitely moved more dramatic. I can see in even her more current roles, other than How High 2. That came out in 2019, which I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed either.
But I swear to God, her as Gail the Snail and Always Sunny in Philadelphia may be the pinnacle of insanity and brilliance.
I don't remember this. What season is this?
Oh, she's on a couple. She has a couple seasons. She's in the first season, I think. Oh no! The first time they show her is at their mom's funeral. Is where the first time you meet her.
Oh, okay. I know her mostly from Mr. Show, but we also have David Herman, who's like the pothead guy. He was from Mad TV, Office Space. Right. I truly believe the worst part of this movie, besides the homophobia, is how wasted Jennifer Garner and Marla Sokoloff are. Yeah. Completely and utterly fucking useless in the movie. And I would have been insulted if I, as an actress, that I've been given that, because Wanda and Wilma are just, they're literally treated as just the whiny girlfriend. And, that's just fucking annoying. Bob Clendenin, who was a guest on the show years ago, who I messed up his name so fucking bad that we eventually started.
I was so excited when he showed up. I forgot that he was in it. I love him so much.
Yeah.
We're also, ask anybody. He and I are BFFs now. Flash in the pan, Hal Sparks. How was he?
No. Hal's still going strong. Seriously, are you thinking of the?
He was I feel like he had a really intense few years though.
Maybe, but do you remember the guy? Because he was on The Soup. He was. I think Greg Kinnear was the first guy. Then there was that guy, John Henson, I want to say, with a little streak in his hair. What happened to that dude? He was hilarious.
I don't know.
I didn't think Hal was very funny on the show, but yeah, he was on Queer as Folk for 6 years. Has he?
I think that was really what got him really noticed, and then he started doing a lot of stuff, but I don't know what he's doing.
No, you're right.
Now.
Lots of voice work, and I know a lot of that talking head stuff, like they did on VH1 for years.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's not working. I'm just saying that it seemed like around this time he was really had a lot of presence. That's all.
Yeah, and the guy that plays Turtle, he's one of the other guys in the cult group. Went to high school with my former co-host that I don't talk about.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Turtle?
yeah. They're apparently still friends, but I just
You mean Turtle from like Entourage?
No. There's a character named Turtle in this. He's the one with like the halitosis and bug eyes, and he's just
Gotcha. Yeah. I got it. Sorry, I was just like, wait, what? That's the only Turtle.
Donkey Lips. Donkey Lips is in this. The bubble wrap cult guy. That whole thing is so ridiculous. That whole cult. What the fuck? I think the worst part of this movie, the unfunniest fucking horseshit, is the alien girls.
Yes.
Jesus, that doesn't work at all. We're here to give you oral pleasure. No, just not funny.
And yet they did it like 12 times.
Yeah, I think that's why they stopped. Like it just kept getting worse and worse. I think the underrated scene in this movie, the one that no one ever talks about, everybody brings up like
Brent Spiner.
Huh? No, I was thinking of at the impound. That weird guy with the big glasses. Remember we used to see him in commercials all the time? He was on Ed for a while. I have no idea what happened to him. But his name's Pat Finn. And he's Rick. And he keeps fucking shit up. And I can't stop loving that character.
When he's just like, oh, did you mean... which one did you say you wanted?
Gee, guys, I'm so sorry. And they're like, Rick. Oh, wow, I forgot.
And then that lady...
Yeah.
The
lady.
Then they go and try to get the information, and she's like, I'm going to have to take a pinky for
that. I forgot Andy Dick is in this, too. He's like the cult. Oh, that's when Brent Spiner shows up, isn't it?
Yes, that whole scene with him and the fucking... what are they called? The animal?
The animal?
The animals at the farm where they go?
Llamas?
Like ostriches or something?
I don't know. Oh yeah, ostriches. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, the ostrich farm, and then he asked them the question about the ostriches, and it's basically like an homage to like the question in Monty Python about the
weight of the bird. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. It's an homage to that, like just a little nod,
Mm.
And yeah, I just thought it was so funny, Brett Spiner. I was like, because I personally don't really know him as anything else than Data.
He's in, what is that? Oh, Master of Disguise. I remember him from that, and I remember him. He was in.
God,
he said, "Did you just tell me to shut up?"
I forgot all about Master of Disguise. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a pretty fucking terrible. It's barely even a movie. It's like 65 minutes long and then 12 minutes of credits.
I mean...
Well, he's also in the Independence Day movies. Remember, he's the one with the crazy hair and the glasses and gets taken over?
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do.
I'm looking at this. I see Gil Netter, and I knew the name looked familiar. I thought that was the director of 10 Things I Hate About You, and I'm wrong. But he was the guys, not the Farrelly brothers, the Zucker brothers. He was their producer for years, and then this is his first production on his own, where he started working with Fox. So you see like Naked Gun 2 and 3, whatever, Brain Donors, First Night, High School High, Basketball, then Dude, Where's My Car? And then he does all these wildly different movies. It's very interesting.
Gil Younger. I don't know if that's how you say it.
Yes, okay. But I think it's funny when a producer just switches lanes like that and just shows you can still, like he did Flicka and Aragon and Fever Pitch, The Blind Side, Life of Pi. So
which Fever Pitch?
The American one. The one so there we are doing Farrelly Brothers now. I think a lot of what this movie plot-wise is completely frivolous. It's just from joke to joke to joke, but it is interesting. Like when the person was writing it, it's like, well, how weird can we get?
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, sometimes there is a time and place for straight up stupidity.
Yeah.
Really. Especially now.
But if it works, you still have to make it work. It's so hard to get stupid right. We've seen, like, Dumb and Dumber gets it right. Bowfinger kind of gets it right. Because it's kind of stupidity, but it's
kind of?
Well, no, I mean stupid. It's a mixture of stupid and also delusion. It's more than just stupidity.
Okay. I was just like, that is fucking a
no, that's a.
man.
We all know that I nearly had a stroke while watching that movie. You had to check on me to make sure I was okay during fake purse ninjas because I was purple.
Seriously, did I pee myself? I wouldn't be surprised if I did.
I don't think this movie gets it right. What I like is either you gotta go 100% into the stupidity and make all the jokes work. You really have to spend the time on the absurdity, and I don't think this all gets all the way there. But I also like watching very normal people in insane, stupid situations, which is if you're going to go with the Danny Lanier movie, you just go to Harold and Kumar. Just go over that because it's got everything you want.
Yes.
Sadly, it's not a teen movie, so we will never be discussing on this.
We will find a way to talk about it.
Maybe, and I'm if we do, I'm skipping part 2. I hate part 2. Part 3 is great.
Oh, I hate part 2 as well.
Yeah, it's all screaming all day long. So that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, under Hit Rewind, social, what do we call the podcast hosts? What do we call them? Streaming services. Subscribe, share, comment. If there's movies that you want us to cover, let us know. What did we discuss we're going to do next? We're going to... I wanted to warn you, we're going to go a little bit before, because the next double feature we want to do is the Addams Family movies. And I think the first one doesn't technically count because I think they're preteen, but the second one is right at 13 or 14.
Yeah, it's a stretch, but I don't give a flying fuck because I love the Addams Family.
Yeah, so, and it was darker and more mature. So here's the other thing is, we've discussed this before, it's not just movies that have teenagers as the protagonists. It's about how they sold movies. So there's movies...
That makes sense.
So there's movies that we've seen that were clearly okay, because I just watched Singles. And do you remember how hard they sold Singles and Reality Bites as well? These are what cool 20-year-olds are doing. In high school, you're like, oh, well, this is really hip. I need to see this. I need to hear this song. All that was sold to teenagers.
Yeah.
So, and same thing with Addams Family is, those are kids, but it's so weird, and there's adults in it. It was also sold to teenagers because it was right in that PG-13 line.
Yeah. I would also say that in addition to all that, it also, on a entirely selfish level, we're somewhat making decisions on how it resonated with us personally.
Yeah. And also, it's our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want. We decided we're going to do we're going to discuss Cary Grant movies on this episode.
I love Cary Grant.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make something clear, though. I know that I said it a little bit like this. I want to just make it clear that I don't want to make some woke statement. I don't give a fuck if you say that to me or make a comment about it somewhere. That's fine. But I am in no way promoting or supporting transphobia. I just need to make that a point because there's a lot of very questionable stuff in Dude, Where's My Car, especially regarding that. So I made my statement.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I mean, yes, we're going to take this with a grain of salt also because the world is different. We wish it was more different because people are not moving along very well. But 20 years ago, that was considered funny. Before that, it was, a decade before that, it was gay jokes. Before that, it was, and there's, in times change, and you don't throw the whole thing out because at certain moments, Revenge of the Nerds has 2 really fucked up moments, but its core is still good. And but just always remember, be prepared that there's going to be some stuff that has not aged well at all.
And don't be dicks to us, okay?
Yeah. Well, nobody has. Everybody's been cool.
No.
Yeah.
I know.
But you and I discussed it big and if you follow me on social media, is everybody deserves representation. White men have had more than a century of a big focus in every type of pop culture. It's time for someone else because I remember as a kid, all you had was Princess Leia. And that's a half effort because in the third one, they throw her into a fucking bikini and make her a sex slave. Yeah. Though she does strangle Jabba the Hutt, so at least I have that. But still, they sold her as a sex object, and that's all you had until we had Ripley. I guess. But in the first one, she's in her underwear for no fucking reason, showing off her ass.
Maybe we should have a special girl power episode.
Yeah, it's just very interesting because you and I was always mad. You remember growing up, I was always like, why is the girl always a damsel in distress? Why is she always being captured at the end and being basically useless? And then, we saw better representation. Like, A Long Kiss Goodnight, I think, is like the breaking point for us. So, like, holy fucking shit, finally. Yeah. And, just let other people have some representation in pop culture. Stop getting mad about everything. If you don't like it, then go back and watch a whole century of fucking pop culture!
Well, that's the whole thing too. Is like about the issue that it will be a never-ending issue with libraries is that people trying to ban books, and it's stronger than ever right now.
Yeah, I can't believe.
And I'm just like, you know what? You don't like it, just don't read it.
Yeah.
Because almost always people try to ban stuff, and they have no fucking clue the context of what they're even talking about.
No, and they never do. It's just hearsay. What I've discovered is because now I live in a small towns, small minds, and they want to control you. Yeah. And I think that's why really mean, ignorant people like small towns because it's easier to control and bully. And if you don't like it, then harass them till they leave. There's more than just your world. And if you don't like it, just move along. I see this morning that now Texas is introducing a whole ban on letting children even view a drag show. A normal, everyday, and it's like, well, then do you have the same problem with Mrs. Doubtfire? Do you have the same thing with Kids in the Hall, Monty Python? It was for entertainment. It's not sexual. But at the same time, they have no problem giving their kids...
Old Shakespeare was all drag, homie.
Yeah. But I mean, for fuck's sake, the same people who have no problem posing in a photo with their kids and all goddamn AR-15s. You don't think that's more damaging than a fucking dance show?
And we digress so much that we are not even close to our original topic.
It doesn't matter. At this point, we have to stand up and say something because if you...
I know.
Yeah, and I'm saying this for the other people. If you're scared, I get it. But at the end of history, when they look back on us, you're either protecting the people who are being oppressed and suffering, or you are a coward.
Enabling those abusers.
Yeah, you're a coward, or you are part of the villainy problem. You're the one to... And the last thing I'll say, and I'm sorry I'm repeating, because Mindy's probably seen some of this on my social media. Woke is just a current word they're using as a weapon. Before that, it was gay rights. Before that, it was women's lib, civil rights, suffragette, Emancipation Proclamation. I mean, if you go all the way back to the cornerstone of what made this country what it is, the Declaration of Independence was about us being not represented properly and suffering. So if you want to play that game, go look at what our country is based on, and that's the same exact fucking thing.
Yeah.
I'm sweaty now.
Maybe we need to have a side show where we just talk about all the fucking shit we're pissed about.
I guess. But...
I don't know.
Good Burger... Go watch Good Burger, okay? Dude, Where's My Car?
Okay, go watch Good Burger.
Yeah, it's such a happy, joyful movie. I felt so good watching it. Dude, Where's My Car?
It's legitimately one of the kindest, I know this isn't really a word, goodest, like honest, true, positive souls.
They treat him like he's an idiot, and by the end of the movie, they finally realize, he's just on a different wavelength. Because you remember when I was a kid, I literally had a teacher bring our parents in and ask and said the word, trigger warning. They asked if I was retarded. They asked if I was retarded. I've had more than a few people ask if I was retarded because my brain is on a different wavelength. You put me in a class like Horizons with all those geniuses, they had a different way of thinking than I did, and I was just like so lost, and everybody thought something was wrong with me.
Fucking public school is a racket, dude.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you experienced that, but it's the truth that they treated you like shit because they were not capable of seeing beyond their tiny little world.
Yeah, and that's what it is with Ed. so long they go and they keep hitting this wall where they just think he's an idiot, but they finally like break through and go, oh, we're just viewing him in a context that we're more comfortable or used to. We have to expand our minds and our emotional intelligence to understand Ed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get a fucking drink.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Sorry about that, but it's necessary. Have a good night.